Welcome everybody to the Town of Ocean Ridge final public hearing on the budget. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Askoff,
Present.
Commissioner Bonfiglio,
Here.
Commissioner Cos,
Present.
Commissioner Lucibella,
Present.
and Mayor Pugh.
Here. Okay, we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and start out with a presentation and discussion of the budget. Jamie, would like to lead off.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, you have book version 5.2 in your backup of the complete budget and all the supportive material. I just, as you probably know, I've been working with Commissioner Lucibella and others to do some final tweaks to get everything in order the way you'd like it. And I passed out to you this evening a data sheet with yellow highlight on the top, and I would like to walk you through that and just tell you where we've made a couple of changes that should bring everything in for a landing.
Go ahead.
I'm going past all the narrative and support initial files, other than I'll mention to you that the millage and the ad valorem rates have not changed whatsoever. The ads for the tax increase proposed have not changed. The balance sheet was completely updated and corrected to catch items that were pointed out at our last meeting. And then flipping forward to the section called financial data and tables, which are all your tables, I will refer to the changes that are on the pass-out sheet that I have given you this evening. They are printed back to back, and they're page numbered the same as your book in the binder. On page 3 of your budget book, which is the capital fund statement of revenues and expenditures, on your handout you'll see we made revisions there. They're highlighted in yellow, and both the capital side and the revenue side and the expenditure side match. We started with an unappropriated fund balance corrected to 14.9. That was picked up from previous version. We started this year's budget with an unappropriated fund balance for budgeting purposes corrected to 115. And then we've shown the engineering costs. We've added in engineering costs for the $200,000 in paving projects, which added $15,000 of the capital budget for a total budget of capital funds of $295 even. Later in your book, at the end, I have revised the capital budget resolution to reflect these changes. So when we get to adopting the resolutions, they'll be already made for you. Flipping ahead on to page 4, which is the statement of revenues and expenditures. There are 4 line items highlighted in the numbers there. The bottom line number has not been affected whatsoever. We moved the item of the project for detention area maintenance projects from other physical environments to public works. And we also moved from your book version the interfund transfer, which was a savings over recalculation into the contingency line item. So we're read 50 for contingency, it reads 72,052, and then physical environments 295,320, public works is 276,556, and as I mentioned, the bottom line does not change whatsoever. Flipping ahead, the next place I'd reference a change is on page 8. There are some numbers highlighted. We are recalculating those numbers and anticipate a minor savings. It also applies to page 14 under law enforcement. And page,
I think that was the only.
only
That's the
those
only
two. There'll be a slight savings. We just received recalculated workers' comp rates today, in fact. They went down about 2% over our previous quote from Pidgeot, but they're up 6.8% over last year. So there'll be a slight savings in those line items, and there'll be a slight savings in recalibration of benefits, but it will be not majorly impactful, but my recommendation there is that any savings that are realized from that recalculation, we would assign to contingency. If there's any savings to the town, it's in the town's favor, in other words. And then, finally, on page 20, the other physical environment, all we're showing there is that we removed the detention project from repairs and maintenance under other physical environment, so it reduced that line item, giving you the total that you saw earlier on your populated totals and the description down below it. And then on the following, page 21, Public Works, that's where we added that number into road materials and supplies, 505,300. So that number went up, and the corresponding balance or department total changed, and that's already reflected on your total sheet with no net change to the town. There's also a note on here that the question was asked about the $3,500 in the machinery and equipment for Public Works. That was appropriated in fiscal year 2016 for a riding lawnmower. That purchase was never made, so I reappropriated it this year for the same purpose. There's no change there. On page 22, which is your Public Works expense, it just shows you where we added in the additional 19 into roads and materials and supplies. And then finally on page 23, the contingency amount was changed to reflect the added savings to the town by putting it into that line item with a new total, which has already been carried forward to the total. Nothing on the capital page other than indicating you've already funded the police radios phase 2 and $200,000 in the road paving. The other items in the capital expense options are still available to fund or to defer. And then the last page in your package is just a recalculation of resolution number 2016-12 for adopting the capital pages, that capital changes that were made on page 3, I believe it was. In addition to that, the entire rest of the budget book is in your package. I'd be happy to answer any questions or information that you might have about any of it.
Anybody have any questions?
Let me give you a comment on this, a couple comments. Jamie went through this pretty quickly. First of all, Jamie, be aware that workers' comp, I learned today, you can call Pidgeot in June, and they'll give you the, they know the updated number at that time. So we can, in future, we can get that earlier. If you look at, when we went back through this, Jamie basically had it right. We had some problems with the capital funds still, in the way we were reporting that out. Most of the other things are just transfers. These were things that I'm going to take partial credit for all these highlights and changes, but the real credit goes to our former town clerk, who spent countless time with me on the phone and caught much of this and explained and checked my work. So in certain cases where we had $19,000 for detention charge to one department, it was just traditional that we put it in another department, and Jamie did that. Obviously makes no change. You still have on page 3 the $180,000 that you wanted to add in, 100 for paving, 80 for the second tranche of the radios, and you add, and that gives you 200 for paving. We did add an additional 15,000 in for engineering, because there is going to be an engineering expense somewhere there. and you want that reflected. If you go to page 4, the reason why your contingency fund is up from 50 to 72 is because, that's correct, we found $26,000 in additional, in non-expenses. In expenses that a $26,000 reduction in expenses, but what happened was when we advertised this budget, we took 3,000 or so of that, right, and we decreased the budget amount. So now we're published at that lower amount, we need to stay at that lower amount. So we've got 22,000 in reduced expenses as a result. That's a plug number to make the budget balance, and where do you put it? You can put it into capital projects, or you can put it into contingency. Capital projects would cause you a problem with the advertisement. So it's there in contingency. That's why you see the contingency up from 50 to 72. So you might want to use that money in capital projects later in the year. The fact that we didn't adjust the benefits for anniversary date is probably going to give us another 10 grand, I'd suspect. If you look at police budget, I'm not going to be surprised. But you can pass this budget as balanced today with just an instruction to the town manager that calculation gets done, and any savings there gets plugged right into contingency fund, raises the contingency fund a bit. And the rest of it was really window dressing. The 19,000 for the detention pond, really window dressing. I take no responsibility for Resolution 2016-12. I just saw it. I'm taking the town manager at his word that that's good to go.
All right.
And I think we need to send flowers to a certain former clerk. She helped us out of a really tight spot on this. I don't think Jamie and I could have done this without her help.
Thank you, Rich. All right, we're going to
Thank
announce
you
that
for your help, too.
Okay. We're going to announce that the Town of Ocean Ridge computed millage rate of 5.35 is higher than the rollback rate of 4.9891 by 7.23%. Now, any comments from the public? Any more comments from the commissioners? All right. Hearing none, who'd like to start out with resolution number 2016-10?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2016-10 as set forth in item number 1.D in our agenda.
Okay, is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next resolution.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2016-11 as set forth in item 1.E in our agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. And lastly,
I move that we adopt item number 1.F, resolution number 2016-12, which was handed out to us tonight, as opposed to in our book.
is that part of your motion?
That's part of my motion. So I just want to make sure that it's not in the book agenda as it's on the handout agenda.
Do you need to tag it with what Rich brought up?
Well, I just did the math, and the math
No.
adds, so.
The math does that. All right, so, did you get that motion, Tracy?
Yes, he moved to adopt resolution 2016-12 as amended.
2016-12 is a separate resolution from what's in your book, so
Yeah.
they numbered
Yeah.
it, so you've specified
I
the resolution he's
specified
talking
as
about.
item number 1.F as set forth in our handout, as opposed to our three-ring binder
Yes.
given to us
Correct.
last week.
Are you going to read the updating and reappropriating funds for the capital projects?
Well, the only thing that was changed is taking the $15,000 and
Very good.
reallocating it into the, I guess, it's called, from the capital fund, it's called the paving program engineering amount for $15,000, which reduces the anticipated fund balance from 121,057 to 106,057.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
Oh, you brave souls.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
And
Okay.
if we could, I'd appreciate it if we could direct the town manager to make those changes in the benefits, put the money into contingency. I don't know that you need a motion, just consensus.
Consensus in a direction.
Also, if permission to change any Scrivener's errors, in other words, if there's a carry-through anywhere in the document where those numbers apply in the narrative or in the data. I'll
And
update them there.
that's necessary because some of the supporting documents, I did not change the supporting numbers. I suggested just the documents that you have here. So he may have some underlying corrections to make, but your budget is balanced.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You got your direction?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you for all your help,
Amy.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, everyone. Now for the recess, we'll show a short movie that. I don't know. Went quick. It's raining.
There's a couple of Popeye the Sailor Man shorts.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah,
they pay you
there's that
Tuesday
new
for a
movie,
hamburger today.
that new movie out with, is it Tom Cruise, The Accountant?
No, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, that's right, we could show The Accountant.
Can we go right into our 6 o'clock meeting, or do we have to wait?
Well, we advertise it as waiting.
Yeah, we have a public hearing that was advertised for 6
Oh, we
PM.
Yeah.
Why don't
We
we
gotta
move-
ask, we gotta ask the public hearing guy back there if he's. it's
Why don't
okay.
we move him to last on the
Right,
agenda?
just move to last. As long as it's after.
Yeah, but if you've advertised it at 6 o'clock,
Because it's on the agenda at 6, you gotta leave it.
you gotta do it.
Absolutely.
If it didn't do that,
Yeah, but do what Jim said.
Question?
No, yeah.
Put him after 6 o'clock and let's.
Why
start
can't we
Yeah,
just
but
Yeah.
the
the
recess
rest of the
later?
townspeople have to be
You
noticed.
can't, yeah.
You notice you've got business, you
Yeah.
can't conduct the business. We probably should have done it budget meeting and town meeting immediately following. But you can't now.
You understand?
spend 45 minutes and have public comment.
I was going to ask a question.
Hey, you know, I think we're gonna postpone that first agenda item.
Can I ask a housekeeping question, Mayor?
Sure.
Can you convene the meeting and just hold the public hearing after 6 PM? It's probably an attorney question. In other words, just reorder the agenda so that,
No, but if
But
you're,
the
ad-
agenda is
but if
posted
you're
for 6.
advertising the meeting to start at 6.
I'd like to say yes, but your agenda does says regular meeting begins at 6, so
It
any
says it
member,
clearly right on it. You've advertised it's gonna be on there.
any member of the
Since we got
public,
some wasted time, can I meet with the town attorney and go over the problems I have with the,
You can do whatever you want. You've got
we got time?
40 minutes.
yeah.
Can we do it here? Sure. Okay, come on, I'll show you.
I'll use the conference room or my office. Probably attached to the building, if you, I mean, you can use.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the regular town commission meeting, Town of Ocean Ridge. You've already called the roll. We've already said the Pledge of Allegiance, so we're going to go ahead and move right into the meeting. Thank you for waiting. So we see any other additions, deletions, or modifications in the approval of the agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to suggest that we postpone the two ordinances, number 16 and 17, till the November 7th meeting.
Happy
Okay.
day.
Anybody object to that? All right. Anything else? All right, now we've made a little bit of change. We've moved the public comment section to the beginning so that you have, if you have anybody wants to have any public comment on the approval of the consent agenda, you can now. Or you can have any comment on anything you'd like, other than what's on the actual agenda. Or you can comment at the time on the item that's on the agenda. We just changed it up so that you could actually have more comment.
Mayor,
So, yes.
just procedurally, we need a Motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended.
Right,
And
we
then
want
you'll
to do that
approve-
on the, after the public comment?
Nope, you want to approve the agenda as amended now, and then you're going to approve the consent agenda in a separate motion below.
Okay.
Okay?
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Again, public comment.
On number 10?
You can make a comment on number 10 at the time of number 10, yes, ma'am.
Are you looking for a motion, Tracy? Were you looking for a second motion?
No.
No.
No, we're going to take public comment
Public
All right.
first,
comment now?
and then
Move-
you'll
Moving,
do.
our first public comment is we have the Chief Investigator of the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics, Mr. Anthony Bennett. Mr. Bennett? Hold on.
Good afternoon, all. Again, my name is Anthony Bennett. I'm the Chief Investigator for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. Just wanted to come to address the council, just to introduce myself and my office to you. We have been in existence for the past 5 years, of course, through referendum. We were created along with the Inspector General's office. Inspector General, they pretty much oversee process as far as contracts, things of that nature. We oversee the code of ethics to make sure that all officials elected and appointed and all employees are following the guidelines within the code of ethics. We have 5 commissioners, which are all selected independently from different organizations, Palm Beach County League of Cities, the police chiefs, and some others. So they act independently, but they make rulings together as a board based on information that's presented before them. Within the office itself, we have 5 office staff. My chief executive officer, chief executive director, excuse me, Mark Bannon. He's my boss. We have a general counsel who's Christy Kelly, myself, chief investigator. I have 1 investigator under me, and also we have an intake manager, Gina Levesque, who runs the office ins and outs. We offer training, both live and internet-based. You guys tell us what you need. We'll have a trainer come to you. Or if you see that the city's offering a training somewhere else, you can easily jump in on that. But we'd be happy to come to you directly to offer you training. Our trainers are Mark Bannon and our General Counsel, Christy Kelly. The good thing about them is they'll work around your schedules. Like if you have a police officer or the fire department that's unable to get to regular scheduled training, they'll make amends to make sure that you guys get the training. We also, again, have the internet-based training where you can just pop it online and look, and that fill out the training form, send them into our office, and those work as well. In addition to the investigations, we do advisory opinions. So like if you guys have an issue that you're not sure of, a possible voting conflict, you just let us know what the problem might be, and we can offer our counsel, whether it be Christy or Mark, will offer an actual advisory opinion, which will be approved by the commission, and it'll kind of give you a foundation to move forward on what you were trying to do. In addition to the advisory opinions, there are over, probably since inception of the office, probably about 400 that are online right now. So 9 times out of 10, if there's an issue that you guys have, you can easily go online and find it. But the good thing about it is if you're not sure where it is, you just call us and ask. We'll find it for you, and we'll pick out like maybe 3 or 4 that may be close to what you're looking for. And again, if it's not there exactly, we'll write you a new one. That's, part of the services that we offer to all cities. Finally, he wanted me to make sure that I went over the taxes issue. Our office is paid through ad valorem taxes. So basically, our budget is covered inside the county budget. So there's no extra monies that need to come directly from the cities within the county because it's already there. It's approved every year with the rest of the county budget. So like with any service, if you're already paying for it, so you might as well use us as you need. So based on that, I have nothing else. This is just a simple introduction. If you guys have any questions for me, other than that, I'll let you get back to your business.
Any questions for Mr. Bennett?
Okay, real quick, my investigator, Abigail Irizarry, just walked into the building. I'm just gonna, if that's okay, have her pass cards to the town clerk so she can hand them to you. That will be your point of contact. If you have any questions, you call her directly and tell her what the issue is. It'll definitely get to us, and we'll try and handle it from there, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all so much.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. Anybody have any questions on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. All right, announcement and proclamations. Town Hall administrative offices will be closed on Monday, October 10th, in observance of the Columbus Day holiday. The amended building permit fee structure began on August 1st, so please check the website or call Town Hall for more information on that. The Town Hall is the polling place for the November 8th general election. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Also, I'm adding one on here. I want to just say Happy New Year to all our Jewish friends out there. All right, moving on to public hearings. Number 10. Tracy, would you read it?
An application submitted by Thomas Olafson, 6195 North Ocean Boulevard, Ocean Ridge, Florida, 33435, requesting a land development permit from the provisions of the Land Development Code, Article 2, Coastal Construction, Section 6717, Coastal Construction and Excavation Setback Line, Subparagraph A, Setback Line is established, and Subparagraph H, existing structures to permit the construction of a new seawall that will extend a maximum of 192.55 feet plus or minus east of the Coastal Construction Control Line located at 6195 North Ocean Boulevard.
Ken, you want to?
Yeah, hi,
some
Ken
background.
Khalil, 54 Northeast 4th Avenue, Delray Beach, representing Thomas Olafson, who is here with us, Mr. Olafson. And it's regarding 6195 North Ocean Boulevard. As you all know, climate change or sea level rise and all the good stuff and the erosion that's going on, especially in light of the fact that we have a hurricane that we're looking at right now, the erosion along our beaches is going to continue to become an issue for us. And this is one property that has such an issue. And that's why they're proposing to build a seawall. And if you had in the packet, you have pictures of the home and its location and the drawings and everything associated with this. I'm accompanied today with Darwin Stubbs, who is the environmental engineer, and with Jeff Bregman, who did the structural design of the seawall. And they're here to answer any questions and to talk to you a little bit, especially Mr. Stubbs, who's going to give you what we're planning on doing with the permitting process with DEP. Because as you know, historically, although this stuff is being built east of the coastal construction line, we bring it before the town for the blessing, if you will, to make sure it meets current town codes, and then have the DEP deal with all the environmental issues associated with the construction of this. With that in mind, I'll let Mr. Stubbs discuss the permitting process of this, so just so you have an understanding of how this is going to go about.
Thanks, Ken. As Ken mentioned, my name is Darwin Stubbs. I'm with Eisenmenger Stubbs Engineering. We're a coastal engineering firm in North Palm Beach. Mr. Olafson retained us to help exclusively with the DEP Coastal Construction Control Line permitting for the seawall. And Mr. Olafson called me probably back in March because he's had a little hot spot of erosion right along his shoreline. In fact, much of his dune has been eroded, and I'd say maybe he's got half of his sea grape left. The rest is just now eroded back to his lawn. In any case, by virtue of being seaward of the Coastal Construction Control Line, we'll be required to obtain a DEP control line permit for the seawall. So this is kind of the second step. The first step is to understand the problem and to come up with a solution. And in this case, we thought the best solution would be a seawall. We did a preliminary design. Jeff Bergman with the Wanman Group is the engineer who engineered the seawall. And so this next phase, with commission blessing, then would be to obtain a letter that simply states the project meets the town's zoning and setbacks. With that, I'm able to make application to the state and then move through the process with them. I anticipate probably it's going to take maybe 3 to 4 months to get the DEP permit. Unless you have any questions, that's in a nutshell the DEP permitting process.
Thank you. Do you have any questions
I do.
for Mr.?
Yeah, if I'm reading this correctly, that the total length of the seawall is going to be 45 feet?
I can take a look. Jeff is the actual engineer. Maybe, Jeff, you want to come up here? Maybe you can answer the questions. I'll take a look at the plans.
You're talking about the total east,
North-south.
the east side? Oh.
The length from top to bottom, 45 feet?
45 foot
Yeah,
in length.
and then how-
yes, in depth.
Okay, yeah, in depth, and is that, how's that going to be anchored to the bedrock?
It's basically a cantilevered steel sheet pile wall.
Okay.
So it's embedded a certain depth based upon scour, anticipated scour that has been modeled by Darwin. And right now, the elevation of the property, the backyard, if you will, is around 19. The anticipated maximum scour depth is -6, so that's a 25-foot difference between the top of the wall and where the scour depth would be, and then it goes down another 15, 20 feet for embedding.
Okay, and what is the anticipated life expectancy for the wall?
They're usually expected to be there 75 to 100 years.
Okay. All right, that's all.
Question, I'm just curious, what happens to the north and south boundaries of that wall in terms of erosion, property around it?
We've designed the return walls to anticipate that.
So there is a
that
return,
25
there is a return?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There's a return wall, and it's anticipated that it goes 50 foot from the wall that's parallel with the Atlantic back, and that allows for a 2-to-1 slope differential on the slope of the sand or the dune.
Okay.
I got a question. Are you a beach erosion expert?
Am I a beach?
Of the group, you are the most knowledgeable? No?
Probably me, but I'll be,
I just was curious, nothing to do with Mr. Olafson's property, but Ocean Ridge in general. There was a groin removed, probably a quarter mile to 3/8 of a mile to the south of Mr. Olafson's property. Did that exacerbate?
that's a great question. It's a difficult question to answer because coastal engineering is such an inexact science. There's so many things involved. It's almost like trying to predict the weather, except with one more layer of complexity. With groins, which are short perpendicular structures, typically what groins seek to do is to trap sand. Typically in Florida, on the East Coast, and Ocean Ridge for sure, the net transport of sand is from north to south. So if you look at the beach kind of like a river of sand, it's a river that's moving from north to south. So if you put a groin in, you'll see that in the winter months, on the north side of that groin, you can see the sand pile up.
Sure.
And then, if you have one to your south, as a coastal engineer, I would say I kind of like being on the north side of a groin for that reason. So potentially that may have affected what's going on with the shoreline. But again, it is a very complex system. It's very difficult to say.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Just as a comment, Commissioner, I would encourage you to look at the Ocean Ridge Beach Renourishment Project and look at the science and everything that was behind that and the theory behind the 8 groins that were added and everything that's going on with the sand transfer plant, just for your own knowledge. I think it'd be very helpful and have you a good understanding of what's going on along the coastline of Ocean Ridge.
But our biggest problem is we don't necessarily control that.
We don't control that. No, not necessarily. We don't control it. And however, we do have input, and the state and the federal government has allowed us to give whatever input we can, along with the fact that at one point in time, we did have a little group, committee between Manalapan and Ocean Ridge that, when discussing the sand transfer, how much sand got placed and the stick in the water. Look at that history about the stick in the water. It's always fascinating, about the amount of sand that gets transferred, but you should look into that. But any other questions?
Do we have a staff recommendation on this? Yes. We have any legal issues? No. Any public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Barbara Monahan, and I represent Ms. Thompson, who could not be here tonight. She asked me to attend this meeting and read a statement on her behalf. My name is Elizabeth Thompson, and I have lived at 6191 North Ocean Boulevard for 40 years. My property is immediately south of 6195. I saw the proposed plans of the owner of 6195, Mr. Olafson, to build a seawall partly bordering my property line. I understand Mr. Olafson's concern about the effects of beach erosion on his property, as I too have the same issues on mine. However, as I studied the proposed seawall plans, it seems clear the construction will irreparably destroy huge sea grape trees that have straddled the property line and that may well be 100 years old. I consider these sea grapes an integral part of my property, a necessary provider of privacy to my property and Mr. Olafson's, as well as environmentally crucial to the dunes and the coastline. I have spoken to Mr. Olafson, and although he reassured me that the plants and sea grape trees will not be harmed, I would like to look into this further before any work commences. I respectfully ask that no permit be granted unless this sea grape issue is properly addressed to the satisfaction of all involved, including the preservation of the landscape environment. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lori Kramer, 6230 North Ocean Boulevard. When I got this in the mail, I realized that this is, property is right where the public access is for the beach, that Hudson, which I'm on the corner of, borders. You know, all of us use that access, even over probably the main, I don't even know what that street is called. But,
Motions.
right over on the, over the bridge.
Yeah.
So we all use that. I need to know how that is going to affect, like, how the machinery is gonna come in, to build that seawall, considering I look at your property and it's literally right up to the, public access. How is that coming in to build this seawall? Is it coming from the water? Or is this gonna affect Edith Street and close off parts of Edith Street, which is our access? No, I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but, you know, when you build a house that close to something that's eventually gonna be taken away, that's not the rest of our problems, you know? I mean, I've noticed a lot of the other houses are set back, and I feel bad that you're losing your property, but now you're gonna affect probably the public access with this seawall, because I see where that will probably erode.
Would you address us, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But I need to know what kind of equipment's coming in. Is Edith Street gonna be cut off? How they're bringing that equipment in? And how that's gonna affect our little stairway that, you know, this is our little piece of the ocean. And if I have to, I will go around and get everybody's signature to stop if it affects our ocean access. I'm surprised a lot of people did not show up for this. Maybe they just didn't, you know, look at it or whatever, but I need to know how that equipment's coming in. I have
Well, the town of
equipment
Ocean
all
Ridge-
around me at this
Well,
point.
to answer your question, Town of
Okay.
Ocean Ridge is very strict on building codes and how anything is built here, how property access is maintained, parking on the street, as the chief will attest. We are very strict on that particular issue, so I
But
would,
they're here. Can they tell me how that equipment's coming in?
I think that when they pull a building permit, that's how it will happen, and if they will have to do it by the town ordinance and town code. And as they follow town ordinance and town code,
So there's a possibility that we could actually not get to the beach access because if they have to, you know.
Chief, would you expand on that a little bit?
I would not expect that they would be authorized to affect the public beach access at either street, which is what the house borders. I would imagine that the construction project would be geared such that it wouldn't have a negative effect on the public's access to that beach.
So we're gonna be able to find out how that equipment's coming in?
I think, as the mayor says, when the plan is approved, there are conditions for construction along any coastal area that have to be worked through. And at any time there's construction along the coastline, there's always logistical issues of how do we get our equipment there, how do we get our stuff there? And those are issues that I think are addressed at a later time. And if they can't get the materials and the construction equipment in there, that's something that the attorney and their architects and the owner will address with the town so that it doesn't negatively impact the public's ability to access the beach through the public right-of-way.
But I also like to know too is how that seawall is gonna affect now the access itself, because a lot of times when you have a wall, it's gonna maybe start eroding. I mean, is anybody gonna do a study on that? It's gonna erode where our stairs are?
Well, I would
We had a
believe,
problem with our stairs for a while there.
yes, I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of a drop there, yeah, because of the way the sand
No,
is.
no, no, that's
now
fine, that's fine, but I don't think we should be, that should close down at all or be affected by his, putting a seawall in. And if anybody's gonna do any kind of studies, is that gonna start eroding because now he's got a nice seawall? Then the water's gonna start coming over there and eroding the stairway and maybe possibly the person that's building, right on just 2 doors down.
Well,
I know.
I am not a coastal engineer like.
Is there gonna be a
No,
coastal
but I do,
engineer?
I can tell you that the codes and the ordinance in the town of Ocean Ridge and the way we build stuff here is very strict upon how you get to and from the property. And that only comes up when a permit has been looked at and then issued, and here are the caveats to how you have to build. And almost every time I've seen we build homes and everything else in this town, we always consider what the public access is or how it's not inhibited in any way. Whether it's parking on the street, whether it's blocking your beach access.
Well, I know, but we have them right here. Can they say how that machinery is gonna get in there?
No, because this is just an application
All right, okay.
to,
All right, so then once we'll be notified about that, how this is all gonna go about, because I'll just make sure I get signatures everywhere.
if you wish to do that, that's perfectly
Yeah,
up to
because,
you.
I mean, this is, our access, our only access to the beach. And I don't want it to be where we can't get to it, or it's gonna start eroding away because of the seawall, because his house is too close to the water.
Well, again,
I
we
know,
have a.
I know, I'm not an ocean owner, I know, I have no rights, whatever.
Well, no, that's not what I was gonna say, but, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Stella Kolb, 204 Beachway. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually comment on the lady's comment. Is that okay? I just want to reassure her that in Ocean Ridge, we do not close beach access, period. It's these people's problems on how they're going to get the machinery there. It's not her concern. And she shouldn't feel like bad about it, or she shouldn't feel like anything, that she's being violated in any way, because she's not. It's really a very simplistic problem. This is only for the permit. I don't know these people. I have no clue. I just wanted to try to, assure her. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Any other public comment? All right, hearing none, would someone like to make a motion?
I move that we approve the application subject to DEP approval. Is that the appropriate way to do this, I think?
I'll second.
Is that how you do it?
I'll
Motion and
second.
second? Any other discussion? I just want to show you, ma'am, we've never closed the beach access. There's 6 different other accesses also. I know, but I'm saying that we just don't do that. We actually, if you look at all the construction that's going on in town right now, we don't block roads, we make sure that the parking is off-street. So the town police department takes very good care of the citizens of Ocean Ridge.
I call them usually all the time when the construction guys are parking on the street.
Well, that's when they always kick them off.
And
Okay, so we do keep it up. So,
to address that, Ms.
Kramer,
Thompson's issue,
Constance, is there?
the DEP folks will make sure that no bad environmental consequences will occur as a result. We really don't have control over that, the DEP will, okay? So,
And
but
the
they'll make-
DEP is much more strict than we are.
And they can, and then they'll have to come back to get their building permit
Right.
for all of this too. And we'll really see the detail of how they propose to do this, so it has a minimal environmental impact and a minimal impact on the neighbor's use of the public access to the beach. So that's really the time to really look at all the issues that you folks are raising now, okay?
Anybody else? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Just as an aside, Mr. Olafson is very concerned about those same issues as far as the sea grapes and the environmental issues, and will do it the best he can with respect to, preservation of not only his property, but everything around him. Keep in mind, this will not be the first time you hear a proposal for a seawall coming up. I can tell you, just look at Manalapan. It's going to continue as we have concerns that you have noted many times before about the erosion and about climate change. It's no different. So we have to start thinking along how we're going to deal with some of these issues. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to reports. Jamie, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. My report's brief, and in your backup package, by topic, it's Woolbright Detention Area update. We've got a few of the quotes in on the project to move forward for a major maintenance upgrade. Later on the agenda this evening, you have before you the PBA contract as negotiated and approved by the members. That's coming up shortly. I wanted to make a couple of quick announcements for you. This week we have the state DEP people back that are going to do some additional probing out in our parking lot. They're the folks that drilled some holes to do some observation wells for very old fuel spillage issues that they're still probing and looking into. They'll have one more piece of equipment out here this week. We have a contract let and scheduled for approximately the end of October, early November, to reseal and stripe the parking lot of Town Hall. That's already in the works. And I just wanted to make the announcement that December 2nd, which is a Friday, is the identified date for the holiday lights festivities here in Ocean Ridge.
Okay,
That's all. Thank you.
thank you. Any questions for the town manager? All right. Glenn?
No report.
No report. Thank you, Glenn. Chief?
Attached, you should find the monthly report for August. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I wanted to make everybody aware publicly, as all of you know from discussions with me individually, that we are monitoring Hurricane Matthew. Yes, we are concerned. We will continue to be concerned until it's gone. We are going to assess our response as a town and the police department beginning tomorrow afternoon. We get a better handle on where it's expected to go. In addition to that, Chief Joseph from Boynton Fire Rescue has, it's a new fire chief, has asked if he could come to some of our meetings. I invited him. He is expected to come next month to introduce himself to all of you and address any concerns. He and I are in the process. He's just sort of getting settled in, to be honest with you. And he and I are in the process of setting up regular meetings, monthly meetings between our staff and his to address anything before it becomes a problem. Something that I think is a positive step forward for us. I wanted to make everyone aware that I will be away from the 14th through the 21st of October for the International Chiefs Conference. My two lieutenants will be here at your beck and call. I told them to keep their phones on. If you need me,
Is that their names, Beck and Call?
Yeah, it is today.
Oh, I just checking.
Yes. If you need me for anything, I'll be available by telephone and by email, as I always am. And I was asked to pass on the appreciation of the employees for what has happened throughout this budget process and how well you have treated them. They wanted me to pass that on. I've had more than 3 or 4 of them individually tell me to make sure that you were aware and that they appreciate everything that you've done. with our benefits and the considerations you've given us during this process. We understand that that's a difficult thing for you to do sometimes.
Thank you for that, Chief. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to action items, appointment of an audit selection committee members. Jamie?
Thank you, Mayor. By requirement, we need to go out to an RFP to select our auditing service. The auditors that we currently use have completed a second 5-year term. They've actually been with the town for 10 years. And as much as I would have loved to just extend them for the continuity through the transitions, by law, we have to go out and bid the services. And also the criteria for that is establishing a selection committee that will both verify the content of the narrative for the RFP as well as vet the bids that come in against that RFP and then present ranked findings for your selection. We tried to keep this simple by making it a staff level committee and asking a third party to come in and assist us who also works in the field and has expertise in that area. You're not locked into that. I did get an affirmative response from Mr. Thrasher, who we listed here, but you could also select one of yourselves and or a town resident with expertise in this area to consider that. Our recommendation was to make a town manager, town clerk, and a borrowed town manager the 2-meeting sitting committee for this purpose. And that's the information ahead of you, or in front of you this evening.
All right. Does anybody make a motion?
Well,
Or you want to do discussion?
I want, yeah.
All right.
I'm, and expressed this earlier to the town manager, I'm not real thrilled about going outside of the town for the third person on this committee. We have a couple of members on the commission that I think are qualified to do that. And, I mean, why not advertise and ask local residents to apply and see if they want to serve on this committee? I know sometimes it's difficult to get volunteers to work on our committees, planning and zoning and Board of Adjustments, but I'd at least give them an opportunity to apply. I just don't like the notion of going outside the town for services that our town is going to require.
I agree with you. May I, are you finished, Jim?
Yeah, I'm finished, yes.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's
you.
all right.
I would suggest Vice Mayor Lucibella, and I agree with Commissioner Jim that I don't like going outside of the town.
Would you do it, Rich? Well, no, let me put it this way. I think I've been a little bit too out front of late, and I'd prefer to drop back a bit. I agree with the comment that I don't think we should go outside of town for this. I think that we need to look at what you're looking for here. Now, there is some financial component to it, but you're not looking for a financial expert here. What any auditor is going to do is the same as any other auditor, because it's science more than, as I was saying to Glenn, the law is art, but auditing, government auditing really is science. So what you're looking for is a committee that is going to evaluate potential auditors really based on relationship. That's what we want to look for. Is this somebody that we can work with well? Certainly you're going to set their bona fides around the financials. So I think that any member of this commission might do that. I think that going out to the public is, and looking for a volunteer from the public really rounds it out. I would suggest, I think Tracy does a wonderful job, but we need to remember that the clerk's job description, when we made the transition, we advertised for a clerk that did not require finance duties, finance functions. So I question whether or not Tracy is whether or not we might use that position with her permission for public participation. Town manager, member of the commission, member of the public. That's my suggestion.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How often would this committee meet? How many
We
times?
anticipate it's a two-meeting committee, one to approve the content of the RFP and one to receive and rank the responses to
So
that.
could you do a telephonic meeting one and then in-person meeting two?
Probably.
So what about Karen Hansick?
Well,
right now,
that's kind of outside the town.
it's outside the town.
That's
Yeah,
all,
well,
that's a
it's
whole.
not really, think about it.
Well, I think that, I think that's a real thought. The problem is that it would be only fair to pay her for that time, and you can't. And I think that we've imposed on Karen enough for this, through this budget process. So I don't know that that's gonna work. And she really, somebody needs to send her flowers. Okay?
All right, well, let's get this done.
My suggestion would be, let's get somebody today, because I think we have a short time fuse on this issue for this year. So we need to get this thing rounded out and is my understanding, because we have to have an auditor by, January, don't we? Is that?
I would suggest
Ideally,
you want
by
them on
So,
board
yes.
no later than January.
Let's address, a permanent committee later down the line, but let's get somebody right now. And I saw Mr. Khalil in the audience waving his hand. I assume that's because he wants to volunteer.
I'll be more than happy to volunteer. This is not that big of a situation.
No.
I'd be more than happy to volunteer to do it,
All right,
if you'd like.
Steve?
No.
It's also, I would point out, not a standing committee, because once you land your new auditor, it could be for several years, based on how you configure the agreement.
So we just need a one-time deal? What?
You gonna be on it? Member
guess
of the public, member of the
open-
commission, and we're done.
Open my mouth and insert my foot, huh?
You're the one brought it up.
I will serve if that's,
Okay,
so we get Ken and me and the town manager.
town manager.
Sounds good to me.
So I just want to make a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion that we appoint the town manager, Ken Khalil, and the former mayor, and Commissioner Bonfiglio to the Audit Selection Committee.
With Jamie Titkin.
He said town manager.
Town manager,
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any other discussion? Thank you, Ken. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, moving on to the ratification of the PBA contract, wage reopener and extension. Jamie?
Welcome.
Yes, very happy and pleased to report that with the support of the commission and the negotiations back and forth between the town and the PBA, everything that we talked about and proposed and negotiated was voted in last week, accepted by the collective bargaining members of our police force.
Unanimously.
Unanimously. The document is in front of you. It's been initialed. Not only did they agree to the merit-based step plan of up to 5% raises on anniversary dates for every eligible employee, they also agreed in appreciation of some of the other things that was mentioned to you earlier that you've done for the town. There was also an agreement to extend this contract an additional year to 2018, September 30th, 2018 versus 2017, which will effectively get this off the front burner and allow us to move forward with the PBA for 2 years under the content of this. The only thing that actually changed, other than narrative changes, is the scale and the language for the actual merit pay section, which is the wages reopener, which is on page 24 in your book, and also a couple name changes, but also on section, just find where it went to, 33, on page 38, the date change for the additional year extension is noted as well. If the town accepts and adopts this tonight, it'll be sent back, cleaned up with the PBA attorneys for a nice clean copy for signatures all around, and we're off and running. Thank you for all your time and energy and input on this. We're very pleased with the outcome. And recommend passage.
All right. Any questions?
I say we send them back to the drawing board.
All right, so we make a motion on,
I move that we ratify the PBA contract wage reopener and extension as set forth in action item number 15, and with the modifications described by the town manager and authorize the town manager to execute the final completed draft of the extension.
I'll second.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second, all right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, since we don't have to read the ordinances, I guess that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Can I make comment? Or does it have to be on the agenda?
You can go ahead. Go ahead, Rich.
I want to revisit, I wonder if we can, I know you're all budgeted out, but I think that at a certain point, we do need to revisit the concept of a budget amendment workshop. I think people in the town have a right to hear a dialogue around some of the things that have been asked for, including license plate recognition cameras. We never got a chance to do any of those things. In fact, we never got a chance to go through the budget and do our end of that work, which is, what is this for? Can we cut this back? Or like that. So I'm asking for, as we discussed a week ago, that we schedule a budget amendment workshop. If the mayor would like to postpone that discussion until next meeting, I'm fine with that, but I think we need to do it.
Well, yeah, I think maybe we should do is put it on as a,
Probably do as an agenda item next.
an agenda item next.
Can you do
next-
that?
Do you want to put it as an agenda item, or do you want to set a workshop?
No.
No, we want to do it as an
Specifically.
agenda item.
Yeah, do it as an agenda item to set a workshop?
To set a, do you want to do a
Agenda
workshop,
item
or you
to
want to
set
do
a
it just at the
workshop.
meeting?
Pardon?
We can do it just at the meeting, too.
If you want to do it at the meeting, that's
Do
fine.
it, do it at the last item of the meeting, so that
Fine.
we can hammer it out.
I appreciate that. Very good.
November meeting,
Pardon?
the next meeting, November?
Yep.
Sure. Is that, are we all in agreement?
I
Because by then
appreciate
you'll
that.
know what you want to take out or put, whatever you want to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned for tonight.